I don't know about you, but I feel like we're living in the bourbon boom.
Bourbon boom.
The bourbon boom era. There's tons of growth going on in the whiskey world and lots of products coming out every day. New stuff. But the question is, which ones are worth picking up? Well, we've got another list for you, and we're going to get right to it, so stick around. All right.
I don't know what's going on. I passed the mic check again.
I was dancing to our intro music.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because it plays in your head after you do the intro.
Yeah, and so we're kind of just dancing it.
Yeah, it happens. All right.
And here we are.
Here we are. All right. So per the usual, we have to do the disclaimer. So first off, these answers were crowdsourced.
Yes.
But
they are Wes and Randy certified. So.
Well, there's a couple that I hadn't had a chance to try. We're going to talk about that as we go through. But the crowd says that they're good, and the reputation, stands for itself.
Yep.
So some of them made the list that we haven't tried, and some of these, admittedly, are impossible to find.
Yes.
And so typically when we do lists, we try to take that into consideration. Mm-hmm. So when you see some of the names on here, don't get upset. But let's start it off.
Yeah, with one that you can find.
One you should be able to find.
I've
seen it on shelves everywhere.
I just found one the other day, and it is the Jack Daniel's Triple Mash.
Okay.
So what is the Triple Mash?
Well, it's a blend of American single malt, rye, and Tennessee whiskey. And what's interesting about them is that all three are actually bottled in bond.
Ooh, okay.
So that means they're made in the same distilling season. So each year is broke up into the first 6 months and the second 6 months of the year. That's a distilling season.
Yep.
All at one distillery under one master distiller. And it has to be aged for at least 4 years before they dump the barrel. And so all of these are bottled and bond, all three. How much is it?
This was $31. I think $30.99 to be exact. So, great value for a bottled and bond 100 proof product, if you ask me.
Right.
And of course, with the Jack Daniel's, you get that bananas for days flavor, which I really enjoy. It's available. It's out there. So you might as well go and grab one.
What do we got for number two?
Number two, another Jack Daniel's product. It's the Bonded. It's relatively new. You've probably seen it. I think they came out around the same time, the Triple Mash and the Bonded.
Yeah.
It's the black label on there. It's their regular Jack Daniel's, but it's 100 proof. So It's, again, a bottled and bond. That stamp of approval follows all the bottled and bond regulations. And so for, I think, $30, again, $29.99-ish around in there. Really hard to beat it. It's available. It's out there. If you see them both, pick them up both and see what you think.
Sure. Yeah, it's part of a bonded series that they're releasing. They are going to release a single malt too, from what I understand. And so that's very exciting. And I love it. You actually have a open bottle, so I got to try it. And what I think is so interesting about this is it seems like Jack Daniel's has figured out that one of the gripes with the whiskey enthusiast world is that the old number 7 at 80 proof just isn't what the palate is looking for those enthusiasts.
Yeah.
And they're starting to fix some of those problems with these bonded releases.
For the longest time, they've grown to the second largest distiller in the world, just for providing something that the general public would love.
Right.
And they've nailed it. They've done a great job with it. So now just adding these a little bit bump up in proof, a little bit higher quality flavor profiles, it really hits that smaller group of folks who are those enthusiasts. So Well done.
Yeah. And speaking of bump and proof by Jack Daniel's, number 3 is Jack Daniel's Coy Hill.
I would say that is a skyrocket in proof.
Yes.
There's some of those hazmats right there. And I've had the pleasure of trying a few of them. As a high proofer, we like that stuff. But there's the hazmats. They're, 130, 140 plus in proof. MSRP around $70, right? It's not as available as you'll see some of these bonded series stuff. In fact, probably unobtainium.
It's unobtainium. It's impossible to find.
You've got to be one of those things, right place, right time, or know somebody to get it. But man, you can see them on the secondary, and the prices are crazy.
They're crazy high. I've seen some at a fundraiser. I think it was a Brown-Forman rep donated to a good cause, and that bottle went for an astounding amount of money. But Coy Hill is from specific warehouses and probably pretty high up in the warehouse, so that it does have a lot of that water evaporative loss from the high heat changes. And I've seen some that were up above 150. So that's kind of a cool product.
Whoa.
So what do we have for number 4?
Well, number 4 is one that I'm really excited about. It's a Texas-based brand. It is the Still Austin. It's called the Artist. It's their rye that they're just coming out with, right?
Quick disclosure, though, the podcast does have Still Austin as a show sponsor now, but I will also let you know that I am not paid to include them on this list.
Right, yes.
So you're going to see a commercial. However, I just really love this whiskey. I had the opportunity to try it at a whiskey festival called Whiskey Riot that was here in Dallas.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting for this release because it's really good.
So yeah, if you're in the Texas market, you live down here in the great state of Texas, keep an eye out because you'll probably be the first to see it. It's going to be available around the state. But also online, of course, so keep an eye out for that. Number 5, though, is one that I have had the pleasure of trying not too long ago, actually. I think it was just a few weeks ago. A friend of mine and follower of the show brought a bottle to a photo shoot that I was doing and surprised me and kind of pulled it out and said, hey, let's crack this open and try it together. It is the Heaven Hill 17 year.
Right.
And special release from Heaven Hill. It's not as nutty as you would expect with a lot of the Heaven Hill products that you get, but then again, it's not their usual mash bill and yeast strain that they're usually having on some of their bonded products and everything else that they have there. So the one thing is, this is going to be one of those that you are probably not ever going to see on a shelf anywhere.
Right.
Just like the Coy Hill, this is one that's that unobtainium level. And if you do see it, it's going to be north of $250, and that's if you see it at retail.
Right.
If you see it on the secondary, who knows what you're going to see on that price point there. But still needs to be on the list because it's a new product and it's absolutely delicious.
I actually had the opportunity to try this bottle when I was at Still Austin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Someone Say Whiskey did a single barrel selection down there. We took about 75 people. We had them all in this big room. They get to pick a barrel. And one of my friends brought a bottle and gave me a sample. And that's it was like smoked cherry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cherry notes in there, and it wasn't very nutty. And I think that's what makes me think that it may not be like their usual yeast strain or something. Right. There's something different about it. Different, yeah. But it was a phenomenal pour. And if I ever had a chance to buy one at retail, I'd definitely pick it up.
Absolutely.
Not sure I'm grabbing one at the secondary price.
No. So, Randy, which one of the Still Austin whiskeys is your favorite?
It's like picking between my kids, man.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard. Originally, I got to try the Musician when it first came out. Came in this beautiful wooden tube. It was a 375. Really knocked my socks off.
Yeah.
And then they hit me with a cask strength version, and I was like, lights out. This is hands down the best Kentucky-esque bourbon to come out of the state of Texas. No doubt.
Yeah.
Then I go to Whiskey Riot, and they got a table, and I get to try their rye whiskey.
Ooh.
And now I can't decide which one is my favorite.
You know how we are such proof hounds. I got to lean toward the cask strength personally, even though it is very hard to say. The rye is, for a non-rye guy, I love it. It doesn't overpower you with that rye spice, but it's still well balanced to where it comes through. Man, it is hard to choose. So why don't you choose for yourself? Next time that you're out and about, look for Still Austin on the shelf because you will not be disappointed with those big, bold flavors coming out of the Lone Star State of Texas.
That's right. Why don't you pick up the whole lineup and let us know what you think?
You can thank us later.
Still Austin, Bourbon Real Talk approved. To have a bottle shipped to your door or find a retailer, click the link in the video description.
Yeah.
But number 6 is another great product from Heaven Hill in that 17-year mark as well, and that's the old Fitz 17.
Yep, and that's their Heaven Hill weeded mash bill. It's the same mash bill as Larceny. Comes in at about $185.
Yep.
But again, this one is unobtainium.
The best way to get one of those, folks, is, unless you want to go pay secondary prices, is when you go through the Bourbon Trail and you're checking out some distilleries, they are really good about those releases to, when you show up early, if you find out there's some Facebook groups you can join and places you can figure out what their drops are going to be for that morning. And you know what I've heard is when you show up for those drops, you're typically thinking, oh, maybe the first 10 people will get a bottle or maybe the first 15. No, I've heard of the first 50 getting a bottle of Old Fitz. And so it's one of those that's worth worth checking out. If you're going to be in the area, it's worth looking up and seeing if that's a drop that's going to be happening soon, and you can stop by there for that.
That's how I got my bottle.
Is it?
I don't have it. I didn't have a 17, but I did have a 15.
Okay.
And I'm not sure I've tried the 17 yet. I know I've had the 15 and the 16, but I had a 15, and somebody found that there was going to be a drop, went with his girlfriend, waited in line.
Oh, yeah.
Messaged me and was like, hey, do you want a bottle of this? And I was like, absolutely. And so he got 2, he brought it over, I cracked mine so he could try it. And then I took it to a filming, and the guy that I was filming with and his buddy, who was never on camera, drained the whole bottle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, while we were filming. I mean, we filmed for a long time,
man.
but still, I lost my entire bottle of Old Fitzgerald 15 year. I figure it's not a bad way to lose a bottle.
Yeah.
And then the friend tried to steal the empty bottle because it's so beautiful. Like at the end of the night, and I was like, bro, just take it home. Like,
Yeah.
you don't, you know.
You've already drank the whole thing.
You already drank the whole
Just take
thing.
the
You might as
bottle
well
with
take
you.
the
Oh my
decanter.
gosh.
Yeah.
Party foul.
Party foul. So number 7, Castle and Key Weeded.
So this is one that I haven't tried. I've tried a lot of the Castle and Key products before, but this is one that I haven't laid my lips on.
I have had the opportunity to try it. It's their weeded bourbon mash bill. And the reason why I had a chance to try it is that the club Someone Say Whiskey, we did the first ever restoration rye single barrel in the state of Texas. And they have an amazing brand rep here. His name's Philip. And he shows up to some of our events, and he's got like this single horse trailer that he tows behind his truck. And it's like all branded with Castle and Key. And there's like a little ledge on the side, and he like lets you try some of their products that are about to come out and all that. So I had a chance to try it. It was really good. I've never had anything from Castle and Key that I didn't love. And Wes and I have had the opportunity to travel there.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
I would say maybe one of the most important distillery tours that you could do.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The history is crazy.
People ask me, Wes, what's your favorite distillery? And I say, well, it depends. If you're talking history and the beauty, it is Castle and Key.
Yeah.
Like it is, oh my gosh, it's just a picturesque. I mean, they have weddings there. It's just a beautiful place, So, but one that I'm really excited about is number 8 on this list.
Okay.
And that is the Bourbon Real Talk's very own Maker's Mark 02.
Okay.
BRT 02.
Maker's Mark, please do not sue us, but it's just by
right.
chance that your new release that you named Maker's Mark BRT
Yep, that's
is
ours,
the
right?
same acronym that we use for our registered trademark.
So we might sue you.
No, we're not suing
We're
anyone.
not suing you.
We love you, Maker's
We
Mark.
love you.
Yes.
And BRT 02.
And BRT 02 and 01. So basically what this is...
I'm 02, he's 01.
all right, let's see.
01,
That
the
might be...
original.
But I'm older. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
So basically, it's part of a wood finishing series that they do as an annual release. They're meant to be drank together, 02 and 01. And the BRT stands for Barrel Rotation and Temperature. And so
really?
what's...
Not Bourbon Real Talk.
Not Bourbon Real Talk, not this time, or at least in my heart it will be.
Okay.
However, Maker's Mark is unique in that it's the only super large distillery that still rotates its barrels. So when you're talking about aging in a warehouse that's got a bunch of levels, the barrels at the top age faster than the ones at the bottom. The ones at the bottom are exposed to the humidity that's released by the barrels at the top, and so they don't age consistently. And the solution is to move your barrels around in the warehouse, but as you can imagine, that's super expensive.
Yeah.
So for this release, Maker's Mark did not do that. And 1 is from the hot top part of the warehouse, and 2 is from the cool lower part of the warehouse.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna say you're taller than me, so you're 1, and I'm cooler than you, so I'm 2.
Well, I'm the hot top.
Oh yeah, and you're hotter than I am.
I've got the hottest top.
But I'm cooler.
up here. It's
I don't
hot.
know. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Off camera.
But thank you, Maker's Mark, for kindly naming that the BRT.
BRT, yeah.
1 and 2. We appreciate that from the bottom of our hearts.
How much is it? They're about $60 a bottle. Not super available. Very hard to find. A friend of mine was able to get them at the distillery and then donated them to a charity. So that was kind of awesome. So we got a charity
Yeah, that's
option
cool.
coming up for those. What do we think? I don't know. I haven't had a chance to try.
I haven't either, which we should. I think we should absolutely
I think
try
we
those.
should. I feel like we should both have our own set
You know,
of beer
I
teas.
think we should do that on maybe a YouTube Live one day.
That would be awesome.
Just something. A real... I
Whoever wins, I'm going to ask you for a 2-ounce sample.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go. And you're more than welcome to send us a sample of any of these at any time. We would gladly enjoy that.
Please do not
and
send us free stuff. It makes me very uncomfortable.
or don't poison us either. That makes me uncomfortable. Number 9.
Yeah.
Which I've had the 14 and the 15.
Yes.
But I have not had the 16, and that's the Calumet.
Calumet 16 year. It's part of their single rack black premium bourbon line.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it is sourced 1792.
Oh.
And so it's kind of interesting because 1792, I think they did their 12-year release, but you don't see a lot of super high-aged, 1792 releases. And this is at a pretty high proof, at 106 proof, and it's also non-chill filtered, so it's going to appeal to that whiskey nerd. Mm-hmm. And this is an interesting conversation because when a non-distiller producer sources a really high-aged bourbon, those barrels don't have a lot of liquid in them because so much is evaporated over those 16 years, and so they have this huge financial incentive to proof it way down so that they have more bottles to sell. And the fact that they left it all the way up at 106 is a testament that they wanted to still have a little bit of flavor, although these barrels were probably up above 130 after that much age.
Yeah.
And
it's at a fairly high price point too.
I mean, for 16 years,
145, you can find it if you can find it. It was 19 barrel release, so there isn't a whole lot of it. But if you do see it, it's definitely deserving of a grab. Like I said, I've had the 14, 15, and I'm a Calumet fan. I think they're delicious.
Yeah.
But I have not had the 16.
I saw it in a store the other day, and I should have bought a bottle, and I did not regret it. I'll get it next time I go out.
Yeah, shame on you.
But I haven't had the chance to actually try the 16. I have had the 15. Which I was very impressed with, but I've never met a 1792 I didn't like.
Right.
So I'm certain that I'm going to think it's great.
Yes, and
I will do number 10.
Okay, and I'll
even
stand
though
like
you've
this.
got the shirt. So shameless plug. So don't get super mad, but the Prideful Goat, the brand that I co-founded with my business partner Christopher Hart and our distillery partner Gulf Coast Distillers, who is the bottler, we were able to secure some 6-year-old high rye bourbon from MGP. And so I will say that if you end up buying this whiskey, I do financially benefit. So you need to know that right up front.
Exactly.
But it's the 21% rye base bourbon from MGP. And all of our products that we release are going to be cask strength and non-chill filtered. And that's because we're trying to appeal to you guys, the whiskey nerds. We figure if you want to proof your whiskey down, you're more than welcome to do it.
Yep.
MSRP should be around $64.99. At some of the larger retailers, it'll be below $60. At some of the smaller mom and pop shops, it'll be above $70. It just depends on state taxes and transportation costs and things like that.
Yep.
And it will be very widely available. So if you're able to find the Prideful Goat 6-year rye, you're probably also going to have the opportunity to buy this bourbon, but I don't know how long it's going to last because I'm aware of how much inventory we have of each, and we have way more rye than we do of this bourbon. Yeah. So I suspect it's going to sell out. So when you see it, you might want to buy it and buy a bunker if you want to have it around for a little bit.
So Randy, what do you think of the Prideful Goat?
It's so funny because it's not like I have bottles sitting around that I can drink.
Sure.
Because it's not bottled yet. We're waiting for our labels to be printed at the #1 label printer in the United States. And so we're still working on our press check for that. But I did get to try it. The broker who was selling these barrels was at a trade show that I attended. I got to try the whiskey, and I am happy to report that it tastes like amazing 6-year MGP bourbon.
Wow.
Is it going to change your world? No. Are there other producers that release the same whiskey? Yes. Are there other producers that release the same whiskey at cask strength, non-chill filtered that have an MSRP of $65? No. We're bringing it to the market in that state at the lowest price that you're likely to find it. And that's kind of our brand philosophy. We understand that because we're buying other people's whiskey, other people will also have similar offerings, but probably not at cask strength, probably not non-chill filtered. And if they do, their price is probably going to be higher than ours.
Yeah.
So that's kind of it.
That rounds out the list.
It
folks.
sure does.
That's top 10 of bourbons that you absolutely need to keep an eye out for because they are new and they may not be available. Some of them may be. But they're definitely worth the exploration and the hunt.
Sure.
So,
and hopefully some of those won't be too hard to find.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the show philosophy.
Let's do it.
All right. So if this is your first time tuning in, we'd like to thank you for watching and also let you know that this channel has a little bit different philosophy than a lot of the other shows, and that is we want to bring people together. And specifically because we know that there are mental health issues out there. I lost my brother to suicide in 2014. And I have seen how whiskey has this amazing ability to connect people, even people who would normally not naturally connect with each other because they have different ideological views or whatever. And that power seemed like a force that could be used for good to help people to get connected to combat mental health issues.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the reason why we started Bourbon Real Talk, the podcast. And then later, Wes harangued me into starting Bourbon Real Talk Community, which turned out to be an excellent idea because the other discussion forums out there are generally, not all, but a lot of them have a lot of trolls in there.
Yeah.
And these trolls ruin everybody's good time, and they show a lot of hate towards strangers online. And that made me want to start an environment where there wasn't that kind of hate, where people could get connected and not have to worry about that. But it also made me realize that if those strangers can hate you online, even though they don't know you, it's just as easy for me to love you online, even though I don't really know you. And that's why we end every podcast the same way, and that's this. If you woke up this morning and you're unsure whether or not anyone loved you, just know that we love you. We'll see you next time on Bourbon Real Talk. Cheers. Hey, nice hat.
Hey, thanks. Nice lanyard.
Nice rocks glass.
Thanks, man. Nice travel case.
Nice blend topper.
Thank you. Nice candle.
Nice bottle bag.
Thanks, man. That's a nice tumbler.
Nice women's t-shirt.
Oh, thanks. Nice extra schmedium shirt.
Get yourself some nice things and get all the compliments that come along with it. Shop bourbonrealtalk.com.